Alright, so I've got this above ground bed over here, and I used some of this hog wire in another garden, but I thought if I drape some plastic over this, I could make it like a high tunnel, right? But then I can plant directly in the dirt. In my high tunnel, I only can plant in pots because there's gravel over the floor, and that's how I built it. But this I could actually get into the ground. So we just got a new mattress, and it came in all this plastic, and it's not too flimsy. So let's work with what we have, shall we? So I'm going to try to put this over that. So let's see what happens. Alright, so it looks like I have two different kinds of plastic. I've got this exterior plastic that the mattress was shipped in, which is nice and pretty thick. And then I have this smaller, thinner plastic, not quite as big and wide. So I've got this down, this exterior plastic, and now I'm going to try to drape this stuff. And I got a good bit of it, but it's trying to stick to each other, I'm going to try to drape that over the top. And then I'm going to put a thermometer in there, and over the course of 24 hours, like tomorrow at the same time, I'll check to see what the temperature is in there, and put another thermometer, ground thermometer out here. I've got two, and we'll see if it's really any warmer in there. To make these really work well, wind is a factor. Of course, it's windless today, but also we need to have some sun in the sky to warm up the plastic and the interior. That's not happening right now, so right now this is kind of an experiment, but hey, we'll see how it goes. But first things first, I need to get the second set of plastic on top and go from there. So here we go. Alright, so I was able to get that second set of plastic over the top, but because it only went from like here to here, I had to duct tape the ends together, so it's a sheet here and a sheet there. So we're 2 sheets thick over the top of this above ground bed here, and got a ground thermometer in over here. It's reading just about 42 degrees. I'm going to slide this into here, and I'll probably come back and just check it later today, but without much sun, I don't know how warm it's going to get. Sarah's going to wrestle a stick for a while. And yeah, I know it's kind of crappy, but we got to keep ourselves busy during winter months so we don't go insane. Now I just need to find some other things to use as kind of greenhouses. I'm looking for like a clear tote or an opaque tote I could turn upside down. I might try to make a cloche. I'm going to make a couple cloches. Cloche, those are the old-fashioned, they were usually glass, but the old-timers, like in the Victorian era, would put it over plants in the ground to give them a head start in the spring. Like when you order room service and the waiter comes and he brings you that beautiful food on the tray and sets it down, and there's a silver thing on top and he whips it off and there's your beautiful meal in front of you. That's a cloche. I'm sure it's French. Anyway, so I'm just standing here just looking around, and all the junk we have around. What's around that would work, but still be big enough to make it worth my time? A small, like I was thinking of, a 2-liter pop bottle would act as a cloche if you cut the bottom off. But, and then you just stand it up over the top of the plant, but that's so small, is that even worth the time? Anyway, I'm going to look around. You look around wherever you are. I mean, even if you have an apartment with a porch, you can make a kind of a Tupperware little growth system, or anyway, something like that. Well, let's check around. We'll see what we find. Maybe we have to buy something, I don't know, but we'll see. Look what I found. This is what I would use if I was in an apartment. A clear tote preferably one without this. What you would do is, you know, if you had a detachable top, would be to put the top flat somewhere, poke some holes in the bottom of it, put it flat somewhere, and buy a bag of dirt, and put the dirt on top of that top, cut it open, plant whatever you're going to plant in there, pretend that's that dirt in the bag, you plant the plant in there, and then you would put the bottom over as a top, like this. And then you'd have an instant greenhouse. Or not really a greenhouse because it's not heated. Which is interesting, isn't it? Because I've got these flaps attached, I'm going to go ahead and leave them. I could pull them, but I think I'm going to leave them. But I also think I'm going to try to use them in the greenhouse or in my high tunnel. So I have 2 layers of heat protection. And I might just try to pick up 1 or 2 that have the detachable tops so I can do that bag method and show you what I'm talking about. So, stay tuned. Hey guys. So I've cobbled together an explanation of how you can do this at your own home with a tote that has a removable top. So for now, we're going to need your imagination. So pretend this tote has a removable top. Now pretend that this is a tote with a removable top, okay? So it's got a big bottom and a top on top, right? That pops off. So if you want to try this like on a deck or a small space, you know, thinking back to when we were doing the container gardening, how could you do this in your own space? Or if you have a high tunnel, whatever, this will work to give you some added warmth. So we take the top off, flip it upside down. Now the tops are going to be flat. They're not going to be curved like this, but that's not a big deal. So we've got the bottom of the tote and the top. And then to further pretend, this is a big, huge 2-gallon Ziploc baggie that used to contain food, so I'm reusing it. So let's pretend this is a bag of soil you got from Lowe's or Home Depot or whatever. So we're basically going to cut this out and make this into a container for planting, and then put the top of the tote over it, and we're making a little greenhouse. You know, actually this was a greenhouse, right? This is one of those portable greenhouses that I found in moldering around in here. So we're going to reuse this, but I thought it would be nice to show you how to do this. So if you get your big potting soil, and then don't cut too far down the sides because you want the depth of the potting soil to still be held in here. So we're just going to cut out a rectangle. You can use this for summer gardening as well if you have a small spot. But we're going to give this winter gardening a try. All right. So because this isn't actually soil from the garden center, it's wet because I pulled it from outside my pile. And I don't need to go buy any because I have a bunch. But a little more out. So now what we're going to do is fluff the soil up a little bit, get it into the corners. And then we can plant whatever we want to plant in here. Again, putting the top on. I have, these are regular red radish seed pods. Open them up. I'll link a video on how to collect these from your radish plants. You open them up and there's a little seed. Little red thing is a seed. So each one of these pods has a lot of seeds in it. So I'm going to go ahead and get those going and plant this up. So we'll be back in a sec. Okay, so now I've got a bunch of seeds in here, and radish seeds just barely need to be covered to grow. They don't need too much dirt. Remember, for a seed, we plant it twice as deep as it is tall, and so see, look how small that seed is. So 1/8 of an inch maybe. Then I don't need to water these in because the soil is already wet. I'm just going to kind of give them a tap. Now this is going to be interesting because I'm going to plant up the other ones with various things, and we can do that together as well. But I have no idea if all I'm going to get is microgreens, which is cool. You know, these are seeds I grew myself. I've got thousands of them. So if it's microgreens, hey, that's awesome. I'm happy to grow those. If I get little radishes, you know, I've got 4 inches of soil here. All said and done, from here to here, maybe I can get some small radishes, which would be even more better. You know, you can eat the greens, you can eat the base. These are, like I said, a little red radish. I think they're the rainbow globe radish. And then I would just put the top of the container on. Now this is very important. I don't want to leave it up on this table. If I leave it on this table, even though we have an area of cover over the top, it's not going to help as much. I need the ground mass. Otherwise, this is going to freeze and thaw and freeze and thaw in here. It will freeze in here. So I need to put this onto the ground, so I'm going to do that right now. All right, so there it is on the ground. We're going to use thermodynamics here. And so we have this one going on. We've got the one in the big above ground bed that we're going to measure the temperature on, and then we still have these guys we're going to use somewhere. I don't know where yet, but I'm going to. So just fun. Let's try to think outside the box, and you can just take this idea and extrapolate it out, right? So if you had a kiddie pool, you know, I use stock tanks. What else could you use? You could use a paper box. We proved that during the summertime, that you can plant in a paper box and then just get maybe even just put saran wrap over the top of it. Who knows, right? So just because it's wintertime, let's not stop growing. Let's keep growing, even if it's just a little bit. A little bit is better than nothing, and it helps us learn, right? We'll learn a new way to do something that maybe we already know, or maybe this is the first time you've ever thought about trying to grow anything, but come on, you've got junk lying around and you've got the time, so why not? So let me know if you guys have any questions, and we'll be checking in on this project from time to time.